Welcome to the Dawn Osborne Show, Limitless Life. The big question women like you and I ask is, how do we do that? How do we have a growth mindset? How do we increase our emotional intelligence? How do we do life, business and marketing, and yet still remain balanced in the rhythm of our life and our family? Those are the questions that this podcast will answer. My name is Dawn Osborne, and welcome to my Limitless Life podcast. Are we live? We are live with Business Besties. We've got Jody and I'm Dawn.
Look, we're in the same room.
Like I know, we've vamped it up, guys. And you may notice the new setting. We've created our own little space where we can come and do our Business Besties with you guys. So we have a interesting topic today. So we come every Monday and we talk about business mindset and business marketing. Jody does business marketing because she is an absolute Facebook guru. She would never tell you that, but I'm telling you right now, she is the who's who of the marketing on Facebook Zoo. I'm telling you. And of course, I'm a coach. I do a lot with women's ministries and stuff, so I do a lot with mindset and emotional intelligence. So what have we got today, Jody?
Well, Dawn, we are having a debrief, okay, because Dawn and I both went to conferences over the weekend,
Yes.
okay, so, but very different ones. Dawn, with her sort of zone of genius and finding fearless and her coaching and everything, went off to a conference that complemented all of that, and I headed off down to the Gold Coast for the digital marketing conference, so very different. But, so we're going to have a bit of a debrief of that, and there was one of the speakers there at my digital marketing conference that just really, everyone was great, all right, international speakers, it was fantastic, but there was one that stood out from the rest, and I'll share that a bit later.
Oh, I want to know
Leave
why.
you hanging.
Male or female?
Does that matter?
No. I you know, into women.
It's a female.
It is
a
empowering. I love female speakers who are in
Exactly.
like the digital marketing space is full
It
of
was.
men.
It was.
And that's not a bad thing, but we need more women to rise up in the digital marketing and become voices.
Well, that was noted. It was like out of all the women speakers, and like on the main stage, there's maybe 2, maybe 3, and then there was a panel, and it was all men up there. And you know, once at the end, someone said, "We need more women up there," and and it was. I mean, you look at the attendance, and it was very male oriented.
Yeah. So how many men and how many women spoke? What was the ratio?
Oh, I don't know what the ratio was, but I would probably say, it was 70-30.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, I went to a women's conference. It was all women, and it was very, very empowering. It was called Your Best Life. But we wanted to talk about, obviously I'm a coach, and we're very much into mindset growth, you know, and sometimes you've got to take yourself away from your current status quo, your current position, and you've got to put yourself out there and into an environment where you can grow. And obviously doing workshops and conferences and coaching and all that kind of stuff, but particularly conferences, because I want to tell you why you should go to a conference. 1, you'll update your skills. 2, if you go to conferences, it challenges you to grow. And 3, for me, meeting like-minded people. For Jody, she went to the digital marketing. So it's an area where there's a lot of people who have gone before her, who are trying and testing different theories with marketing, and you pick up, you grow in that environment. And the same for me. I wanted to go meet some new people. I wanted to be challenged, my current status quo. I wanted to be challenged. Is there anything that I could change? Is there anything that I could, maneuver? Repositioning my thinking, where I'm at, what I need to do. It's always important to keep checking in with your current position, and is there more? Is there more for my life? And the answer is always yes. But I just wanted to kick off, and I wanted to talk about why we don't attend conferences. Like, you might be someone going, what's she talking about, conferences? I mean, you might be someone who sat there going, oh, I don't ever attend conferences, or it's not my thing, and I just don't want to go. And I wanted to talk about the 3 areas that I must admit, there's been seasons in the past where I've gone, I'm just over conferences, I'm just not doing them anymore. But I'll find that I'll often go stagnant if I don't step out. So there's 3 reasons, and these are personal reasons, but I know they're pretty much, and I'm sure if I roll them out, Jody's may, or, you know, probably agree that, you know, the reasons why we don't go to conferences, for me, one was intimidation, especially a women's conference. So I would walk into a conference and, you know, there would be people there and they're all chatting and they're all look amazing and they're all, and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like a big fat lemon in a, you know, where with all these pomegranates, you know what I mean? They were just, yeah, an interesting metaphor, but hey, I just felt like I was completely different. And really what I figured is that I'm just felt intimidated. This conference I went to on the weekend is quite funny because everybody had been hit with the beauty stick. They were beautiful, beautiful Australian women. And everywhere I looked, there's just this oozing of beauty. And I thought, you know what, today I don't feel intimidated. I feel like, you know what, these women are, you know, they've got great self-care, great self-esteem, but they're real. You know, there was no pretense, there was no fakeness, it was just real beauty. And I was just, instead of feeling intimidated, I actually admired it and respected it. So that's reason one. Number one, you might not go to conferences is because you feel intimidated. Number 2 is time, because I've just done Thursday, Friday and Saturday, and they were big days. But so you might make the excuse, oh, I just haven't got the time, I'm too busy. But and that's where the whole stagnant will roll in. And you have to step out of your comfort zone. And number 3 reason why you won't go is money. And this is a big one because, you know, your conference you just did was expensive, right? Yeah. And they are expensive because you're going and there's all these guest speakers from all over the world. And, you know, it costs a lot of money to put a conference on. But I wanted to challenge that, you know, there's a point where you just have to invest into yourself. I like for Jody going down to the, you know, her going in, you've gained a lot, which I'm sure you'll get a moment to share once I stop talking. But, you know, investing into yourself is really important, especially if you want to if you want a growing life. The conference I did was called Your Best Life. So it covered relationships, it covered marriage, it covered life, it covered health. And then, you know, it wasn't specific to one genre. There was many, and I took some absolute nuggets. And of course, you know, being a coach and all that, I have to practice what I preach. So probably the biggest tip that I think that I can give you in relation to conferences, and I feel like I'm talking a lot, Jody, so I hope you're all right.
I'll get my turn,
that's all right. Was if you've attended conference, you know, there is a huge high. Like you come out of the conference and it's like, especially if you've ever been to a Tony Robbins conference, it's like you're like having an adrenaline rush. It's crazy. And you're like, oh, this is the best conference I've ever been to. It was fantastic. And so we're on a huge adrenaline kick and we just think we're invincible. But
there's hot coals.
Yeah. Give me that microphone. I'm an instant public speaker. I'm going to change the world. You know, so there's a lot of hype, which is good because it gets people activated. But I'm a big believer that, and the biggest tip that I think that I can share with you, that hype and the excitement, as good as it is. Oh, I can hear myself. The biggest tip is that means absolutely diddly squat if you do not apply action to the things that you have learned. So if you've done conferences and you took 7 pages of notes, you did your notes and you put them away in the drawer and you never went back and reviewed your notes, it doesn't, you know, none of those things that you felt that you learned would matter unless you apply action to them. So I am a big advocate for taking action. I don't sit around and just, you know, dream and go, oh, that was really nice. I actually apply action. So yesterday, I did Thursday, Friday, all day Saturday night, late night, Sunday morning. I was up, felt like I was up at the crack of dawn with more energy than I knew what I could do with. I took myself off to IKEA, drove down to IKEA, and I thought, one of the things I thought, no, I need to create. I need to create a space for myself because I have 4 children. I have a very, very busy house. I got a dog that scratches and snores. So I need to create a space for me to get creative, and Voila!
I couldn't believe she didn't have a space.
Yeah.
She said, I'm building up. Where are you putting an office? In the spare room. You have a spare room, and you've been doing it in the garage and the little study nook. And it's like, lady. So yes, so a new level of productivity.
Yes, so you can see behind. I made the shelf. I bought the plants, or I've had. So there's a. But my point that I'm making is I action something. It's what I got out, I heard some information and I thought, no, I'm going to action it. I need to create space for myself in a very busy household. And so so really my biggest takeaway is don't just go and listen and get it into the hype. Actually come home and make a list of to-dos that you're going to action from any conference that you go to. Okay, I'm done.
You're done.
Done.
Stick a fork in me, Jerry. I'm done. Okay, so I went to the Digital Marketer Down Under conference, and so it was amazing. There was about 1,000 people there from everywhere in Australia, and then like Ryan Dice and Molly Pittman and the crew were over from the USA. Awesome. So it was a great opportunity to connect with them, and especially the conferences in Australia are that much smaller than in America. Yeah. So you had the opportunity to connect with these people because otherwise, they're just mobbed. So so it was a fantastic experience. All the sessions were great information. And so one of the big things, and as Dawn was saying before about conferences, that maybe we don't go because it's too expensive because you've got, when you travel for it as well, you've got your accommodation, which is generally about $200 a night, and then all your meals and everything else. And yes, a lot of us can attend and we can do a lot of learning here like this on a computer and be behind a screen. But it's really those connections that you are going to make or have the potential to make at an event which are just golden. Okay, so like for me, with booking this conference, it was like, okay, I'm going to actually do the VIP upgrade because I know it's the value of connecting with people. And it's not to say that just the people who are in the VIP room are the ones to connect with. Like there was people I wanted to connect with who didn't have VIP passes, and I got the chance to meet them, and that was fantastic. So it's the connections that you're going to make at the conferences as well that can be very, very valuable, and that extra information and people you meet there. So that was an awesome experience. So getting to meet people. So for me as well, a bit out of my comfort zone, but it was great in that, it was lunchtime. You could just go into the VIP room, tables were there, you just sat down and then just started chatting with someone. So that was, I found that very sort of easy to do after sort of being from behind a computer for so long. So yeah, so the networking, the people that you're going to meet at conferences is very valuable to get out from behind the computer as well. And then as I touched on before, you'll learn different things. So while this was a digital marketing conference, right, so we had people teaching about bots and emails and automations and the whole sort of shebang of online marketing strategies. There was one speaker there that just sort of took the cake, really, okay? And that was Amanda Gore, and she's up the road here at Budrum.
Love Amanda Gore.
Yeah, everybody loved Amanda Gore. It was like nobody really probably knew who she was because she's not from the digital marketing space, so they were probably going, what is this lady and what's she doing here? But she was really digging into the joy factor. That's what she does. So if you look up Amanda Gore, it starts with a G, Amanda Gore. She's got YouTube channels and such. She's been speaking for years, and she talks about joy. Okay, so we had to have, it was very confrontational, and I had snuck out anyway because I had calls to make, and so I was standing up the back, which was kind of a relief for me because I was a bit too introverted for all of this. But you had to find a joy buddy, okay? So the person next to you had to be your joy buddy, and you had to say some awkward things to them, funny but awkward things sometimes to them, and hug them. And I was like, oh. So there you go, you're at this digital marketing conference where a lot of people are just hidden behind their computer being introverts, and they had to hug the strangers. So but it was the one that everyone just loved and raved about because it went just beyond business, and it went just beyond being a marketer or an entrepreneur. It was going deep into us and our beliefs and our feelings, and recognizing that there's some limiting thoughts, limiting patterns that are holding you back, and, to overcome them, change your mindset to be able to adjust to get to that place that you want to be. So that was a really sort of out of the box and powerful message at this digital marketing conference. So that was a particular highlight, I'm sure, for everybody who was at the conference. Everyone was talking about Amanda's presentation, because business isn't just business, it's what's going on in our mind, it's what's going on in our emotions that can be reflected in our business. So that was a big one. And then another thing for me, like Dawn was saying, was like to come back and implement, okay? Because there was so many, you know, like I've got pages and pages of notes here, and people would be saying, oh, what are you going to, because there was Sonia Keenan, yes, who was sort of the person who really organised it and put it all together. She has the digital implementation group. So she was really trying to educate people about implementing and the importance of implementing. Because so many people, you know, you talk to them, oh, what are you going to implement then? And people would say, everything. And when you try to implement everything, you know what you implement? Nothing. So that was a big thing. So for me, so what I've got all my notes here. I've got to go through them, and I'm going to be drilling down a list then, going, okay, this was great, this was great, this was great. What is the first thing that I've got to implement from this to really be able to get the full value of what I learned from this conference? So there will be, whenever you go to a conference, an event, there will be one thing, you know, I'm sure you'll hear lots of great things, but basically there will be one thing that if you dig in and implement that, that could just shift the whole game for your business and also for your life. So that was my takeaways from the digital marketing. So it's like, yes, get out there, meet people, go to these events, network with people, splurge and get a VIP ticket. That's really awesome. I really recommend that. And don't focus on everything, just focus on a couple of things and one main thing that you're going to start with to implement from your conference.
Okay, that's awesome, Jody. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'm going to challenge you guys, the viewers. Is there a conference around you in your area or in Australia, even global, that you have been playing with the idea of going and attending, but you're putting it off? My challenge for you today is that you actually go and implement. Book the plane, book the accommodation, book the conference, or, you know, whatever it is that you got to do. Go ahead and action it. The power isn't in the hearing, the power isn't in the seeing, the power is in the doing. It's actually the action. That is where the power is of any change or transformation you want in your life. So anyway, I'm done. Are you done?
I think I'm done.
All right. Well, I hope that was a good besties for you today, and hopefully you got some tips and that you will go ahead and you will implement. We shall see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.